Austinville. Talks about Stephen Austin and Colonel Chiswell's discovery of lead within the mines. It talks about Thomas Jefferson standing in the shot tower. Thomas Jefferson stood in the shot tower. He officiated much of the ammunition that went for the Civil War and the Revolutionary War. The shot tower was the main source of that for the United States. And of course, everybody knows that the New Jersey Zinc Company was the biggest industry in the county for the 235 years that it was in operation. So I wrote this book to tell the story of my life, intermingled with the history of Austinville and the story of my family's life. But I want to read a little bit from the book now about when I attended the senior citizen meetings many years ago. On August 14th, 1997, the day before Hazel's last birthday, I was honored to be her guest at the monthly meal for the Lead Mine Senior Citizens, which Hazel was the secretary. Preacher Ashford, who is no longer with us, but he always said that, he even said this at her funeral, she always made the cornbread for the meals, and she wanted that cornbread to be hot. That was something that he even mentioned in her eulogy, because he remembered that about her. She wouldn't miss a senior citizen meeting, and she wanted to make sure that when she got here, the cornbread was hot. And I remember that we also visited the ostrich farm, the McGee ostrich farm that used to be here. And we came through, and I remember her giving me a feather. So I talk about that in the book a little bit. A big focus of the book is the bowling alley and the schoolhouse. And I hope that something will be done with the bowling alley, with the recreational facility in the schoolhouse. I've been, with my position in the paper, I've been trying for years to generate some interest in this, because it was a focal point for the community. It has a lot of history personally for me and my family, because as I'm sure most people know, Hazel was a big part of the bowling alley and orchestrating the activities, and all the kids in the community that are now coming of age, they knew Hazel and worked with her. So a big part of my book is trying to discuss the bowling alley and the livelihood of Austinville that I hope either can be regenerated or at least can be remembered by some people. And I'd like to read just a little bit of this if I could. This is from chapter 11 in my book. Some of the happiest times in my life were spent with my late great-great-aunt Hazel Stutes, as we sat on the front porch of our Austinville home on Sunday afternoon. Even though I was happy to spend time with Hazel no matter where she was, there was something about visiting that quiet little town on Sunday. It was always refreshing to observe the close-knit cohesiveness of the citizens of that community, and how that always seemed to be true. Every year throughout the entire summer, you could most likely spot Hazel sitting on her front porch. She was always very well liked within Austinville, and oftentimes people would just be walking along the street and see her sitting outside and would stop to talk to her. It didn't used to be uncommon for people to visit their neighbors in the way that it seems to be now. Aside from its friendly nature, Austinville was a great place for kids to participate in recreational activities. Hazel worked at the recreation center located in the bottom of the Austinville Elementary School, which opened in the fall of '51. While the county owned the school. The recreation center was owned and operated by the New Jersey Zinc Company. The recreation center included a bowling alley, a ping pong and pool table, shuffleboard, mini card games, a magazine and book area, and a craft room and huge snack area. At one time, the recreation center even housed a teenage club which provided teens with music and room for dancing. All of these activities were set up as part of an after-school program for children. It also accommodated several men and women bowling teams and incorporated sport into the curriculum of physical education classes for elementary school children. In addition to bowling, Austinville had many other sports leagues, including basketball, baseball, and softball. There were activities that were suitable for every season. In summertime, the New Jersey State Company even provided them with a vehicle to transport kids to various public swimming pools in the surrounding area. It was very much a family-oriented establishment. When it closed in 1980, many citizens were very sad to see it go. Although the recreation center was no longer in operation, the bowling alley remained open and still maintained several bowling teams until it officially closed in 2001. I can remember going there once for one of my father's office parties as a young child, long after it closed. I was fortunate enough to have Hazel with me that night to show me around the building in her old office. I will never forget the nostalgic looking place it was, thinking about how much of the history of the community was in this building, as well as my own family was connected with that place. My only regret is that there were no pictures taken that night, as I would love to see it again. I hope that something, as I said before, I hope something can be done with this building. And another thing that I really miss about Austinville is the flea market. And I think it still continues at the, do they have the shop tower, is that where it is at Jackson now? But it used to be there at the old ball diamond where the power plant is, and we all used to congregate back there.
It's next door to the school.
Yeah.
It's next door to the school.
It's now at Jackson. Right. Okay. And I really miss that effort, and I also can remember fondly the 4th of July celebrations that the Realty Club used to do. And that's something that I really remember fondly about the community. There seems to be there was a livelihood in the community, and there was a bright spirit of Austinville. I come from Whitfield, and I lived in Whitfield always. And one thing I found out when I was researching this book, that all you hear about today is Whitfield and their parks and recreation. But when Austinville opened up their recreation center, Whitfield didn't even have one. They took their ideas for their parks and recreation from what they saw at Austinville. And so I find that very interesting. I hope that there is some way, whether it's through the school or through any avenue in Austinville, there's a sense of community that is gone, and I hope with this book that there is some opportunity to rejuvenate some of that history. How much time have I got left?
Yeah. 10 minutes.
Okay, got a few minutes. Okay. Well, if I could just take a few more minutes of your time, I want to talk a little bit about there's another lady that I'm connected to in this club. In case any of you don't know, that's my great-grandmother. That's Rose Tester. And she is mentioned very heavily in this book. And I want to read a little bit about how that I want to read a little bit about what was written about her. And then I will close and I will take some questions. I've been blessed with many wonderful people in my life, but I always felt that my great-grandmother is among the greatest of all. I realized that many people never even know their grandparents, let alone their great-grandmother. And I'm fortunate enough to have a close relationship with mine, and I treasure every moment with her. Granny Rose and I have always shared a great deal in common. First of all, we share an equal love of music and singing. The only difference in our musical abilities is that she has musical ability and I do not. She was an incredible soprano in her day at the Austinville Holy Trinity United Methodist Church. That's another building that I'm glad to see is being used. That is very sad to see that go. And she was a member of the Max Meadows Community Choir for several years. And Granny Rose and I share an equal ability to, an equal love for traveling. It says in the book, neither Granny Rose nor I have ever been able to drive. As a result, whenever either of us got a chance to go somewhere on vacation or see a movie or go shopping, we jumped at the chance. Granny Rose, one of her famous sayings, one I'll never forget, is she'd say, I'd go to a public meeting and just think about something else. And I don't know if I would actually do that, but I probably would if I wanted to get out bad enough. And I know that she was also the cook in our family. I can remember her making me fried chicken and cheesy potatoes were always my favorite things that she made, and she made that for me every year on my birthday. And that's always something that I have valued about her, is her ability. She always, at whatever holiday, she made a big spread, and she wanted to make sure that there was plenty enough for everybody, and she wanted to make sure that everybody was at the table to eat, and it was time to eat. Her and Hazel both were sticklers for that. But what really amazes me about my Granny Rose and Hazel is the fact that they went through terrible times. There was 9 siblings in their family, and they lost 5 of them before they were 36 years old. Granny Rose lost her husband, who was my great-grandmother, who was my great-grandfather, excuse me. Granny Rose lost her husband, who was my great-grandfather, 4 months after they got married. She found out she was pregnant with my grandmother the day of his funeral. So I know personally, I have been married to my wife, Emily, who unfortunately is not here. She's working today. But I've been married to her for almost 3 years. And if I lost her at any time, I don't know how I could recover from that. So I'm thankful that the element of perseverance is in our family and is in Austinville citizens. And as I say, I hope that this book can create some rejuvenation with that, because I know it's within our people. So I'm very proud of my heritage. I'm proud of this community. And I hope that my book will be of interest to you. If you would like to buy one, I would be more than happy to take your orders today. I don't have any with me, but I'd be happy to take your orders, and I can take the money and I can order them for you and get them signed, and I can get them to you at a later date. I can get with Virginia on that. And if you'd like to have a book, I'd be glad to sign it for you. And I'll be happy to take any questions that you have now. Anybody has that? Questions? Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How much are the books?